18. Another great day for baseball here at Wrigley Field. Wind blowing straight in. Good day to pitch. Hopefully for Randy Wells and not Johnny Cueto.
Most days that Randy Wells has taken the mound this year, it's been a good day to pitch because he has been that good this season.
Let's look in on the Reds Southwest starting lineup. Randy Wells will face. They've had a weird trip. Won the first 3. They've lost their last 5 and have scored just 12 runs during the losing streak. Joey Votto with 2 hits yesterday, but took some tentative swings in that game. Other changes, you have Adam Rosales from Chicago. He's playing short. Corky Miller will do the catching.
Take a look at the Cubs defensively today. Bobby Scales getting another start in left field. Kosuke Fukudome over in center. Milton Bradley in right. Yesterday's offensive star, Aramis Ramirez at third base. Ryan Theriot at short. Andres Blanco getting the start at second base today. Derek Lee over at first. Giovanni Soto with a big home run in the game yesterday will be behind the plate today for right-hander Randy Wells. Looking for his 11th victory of the season. The stellar 2.84 ERA. Right-handed hitters have not had much luck against Randy Wells.
The umpires, Paul Schreiber from Oregon, now lives in Arizona. When he has time off, they call the balls and strikes. Nart, West, and Rapuano. Ed Rapuano took one early off his right foot. He's at third today and seems to be moving pretty well.
Maybe he did go dancing last night. We speculated that his dancing days were over after taking that foul ball yesterday, but he looks none the worse for wear today. Ed Rapuano is one of the most popular umpires in baseball. High energy guy. You love him working a game.
Called strike. Wells to Drew Stubbs. Had a hit, walked twice, stole 2 bases in the opener, and he turns on one into the left field corner, and it's going to be foul. The wind's going to push everything that way toward foul territory. Wind coming out of the northeast.
A little more wind today than we had yesterday. Derek Lee narrowly missed a home run to left center field. I think his got knocked down a little bit by that wind blowing in.
A 1-2 pitch just off the outside corner.
Gio sets up on that outside corner. Man, good looking pitch.
In the first at bat of the day, you do wonder if that's the way it's going to be all day, or if maybe Randy Wells would get that pitch a little later from Paul Schreiber. Ramirez underneath, barely having to move. A reminder, today's telecast is presented in beautiful high definition, brought to you by Comcast. Let's put it this way, Bob, that pitch, that borderline offering that was not called a strike, if Randy continues to hit that spot all day, he should have good success, because even if it's not called, I have a feeling a lot of Reds will go after it.
That's a tough pitch to take with 2 strikes. That borderline knee-high fastball, maybe on the outside corner, maybe just off of the outside corner. You have to be a very discerning hitter to lay off that pitch.
One hopper to Theriot, who will throw out Darnell McDonald. 2 outs. Did you ever have pitchers who maybe didn't get that borderline call early in a game, and they just basically told the umpire, I'm going to keep pounding it, and eventually you will call it? I mean, we've seen Greg Maddux do that in the past.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a perfect pitch. I mean, there are a lot of pitches that can be classified as the perfect pitch, but if a pitcher can command his fastball on the outside corner, low in the zone, you're probably going to have a lot of success over the course of the game. Either the hitter's going to take it because he knows he can't do damage with it, or he's going to swing at it and put it in play weakly. So even though you don't get the call early in the game, that's a pitch that you have to continue to use.
Speaking of putting the ball in play weakly, as Joey Votto is ahead in the count 3-0. Both of his hits were of the flare variety in game 1. The other 3 at-bats were strikeouts.
Very uncharacteristic offensive day for Joey Votto against the Cubs.
There's another weakly hit ball that's caught by Terrio as they go down in order 1, 2, 3. The Cubs are coming up from Wrigley Field. The first, let's check out the Cubs Southwest starting lineup. During this 4-game winning streak, they've averaged nearly 7 runs and 11 hits per game. Not too many changes, although Terrio moving from 8 to 2 in the lineup. Soto's been hot here lately. Scales back in left after Hoffpower got the start yesterday, and Andres Blanco's playing second.
Quick look at the Reds defensively. Gomes, Stubbs, and McDonald across the outfield today. Rowland and Rosales on the left side. Phillips and Votto on the right side. Corky Miller doing the catching today for right-hander Johnny Cueto. You'll see Cueto feature a sinking 2-seam fastball, a 4-seamer that he'll elevate up in the strike zone, throws a hard slider, and will incorporate a changeup as the game progresses.
Only 23 years old. Got off to a great start this season, then had a brutal stretch in July and August before ending up on the disabled list with right shoulder inflammation. But since then, he's been pretty good in 2 starts. 2 starts ago, he snapped a 6-decision losing streak, which ran into that DL stint. During that skid, he had an ERA of 10.64 over 8 starts, including 2 losses to the Cubs, as Votto takes it unassisted to get Fukudome.
One interesting contrast to keep your eye on in this ball game today: the mechanics of Johnny Cueto as opposed to the mechanics of Randy Wells. Randy Wells very much under control. A control pitcher, has to hit his spots, has to keep the ball down in the strike zone. Johnny Cueto, more of a thrower, really flies open from time to time out there on the mound. You'll see him falling off to the first base side. Big flourish at the end as he releases that pitch toward the hitting zone. And both pitchers very effective, but in their own way.
1-1 on the shortstop Ryan Terrio. He's batting in between Fukudome and Lee. Cubs finally gained ground on the Cardinals. But the irony is, they probably would rather have had the Cardinals win, because the team that beat them last night, the Atlanta Braves, are tied with the Cubs in the wild card race. Rowland can't get it out of his glove. Is it literally stuck in the glove? No, but it felt like it for Scott Rowland.
Yeah, Rowland played that into a tough in-between hop, and he kind of swipes at the ball right there, and you can see it sticks in the webbing of his glove. Tried to keep his momentum going, keep his feet moving toward his target, but just couldn't dig it out of the webbing of the glove in time. That'll go as an infield hit for Ryan Terrio.
So a 1-out base runner for Derek Lee. The Braves shut out the Cardinals 1-0 behind Jair Jurgens. He was better than Joel Pinheiro. Suffered his first loss since late June. Stubbs in right center makes a catch, so Derek makes an out. However, he's had a big week, and the Jaguar high performance of the week, Derek with 2 two-homer games on the last trip.
4 of his 9 hits in the last week were long balls. Scored 9 runs, drove in 6.
Now, yesterday's offensive hero, Aramis Ramirez, knocked in 3, including the game winner.
Well, I touched on it briefly in the open of the show, Len. It really looked like Aramis cut down a lot on his swing yesterday. It was really more focused on making solid contact than trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Terrio was inching off of first when Cueto threw, and that made it a close play.
Cueto has a good pickoff move, very quick feet. He'll throw as he's taking the sign. He'll throw as he's coming up into his set position. He'll throw after his set position. Occasionally he will throw those pickoff attempts away at first base, but you always have to be on your toes as a runner against Johnny Cueto.
Cueto has a sign from the veteran Miller, swing and a miss.
It's that good straight changeup from Johnny Cueto. Usually he waits till the second time through an opponent's batting order before he starts to incorporate that, but he saw what Aramis Ramirez did in the ball game yesterday. Goes to the changeup early today.
Fastball that time, 2-2 to Ramirez. Milton Bradley is on deck and will only hit if Ramirez reaches here in this first inning. The Cubs have won 9 of the 13 between these two teams, including 5 of 7 here at Wrigley. The season series will end tomorrow. In the dirt, 3-2. Corky Miller. That's a baseball name right there.
Yes, indeed.
So they have a Corky and a Porky. Juan Lopez, their bullpen coach. Runner going on the 3-2, and it's rolled foul. They're an outfield prospect. There's Porky Lopez. Gorkis Hernandez. Gorkis, Porky, and Corky. And wasn't there a left-hander, Yorkie Perez?
Yeah.
Oh, man. We could keep this going, but we'd rather not.
And then it would just be plain old dorky.
Terrio runs again on a 3-2 and a foul pop. Out of play. Cubs took game 1 6-4. Jeff Stevens got the win, even though he gave up a game-tying 3-run homer. But a win is a win. All 4. Told Jeff before the game you could tell your grandkids you went 6 shutout relief innings to get your first major league win. Doesn't matter how you get it.
We talked about that briefly yesterday. You can't get away with that anymore. You got to tell the truth because kids will find it. It'll be posted on the internet somewhere. Can't tell the grandkids, yeah, I threw a no-hitter my first major league win. Well, look it up.
The only problem with your theory is you're assuming that nobody trusts anybody. If Grandpa says it's the case, it's the case, right? Yeah, prove it.
Yeah.
Outside, 1-1 to Bradley. Started the year as the Cubs cleanup man in between Derek Lee and Aramis Ramirez. He's hit 5th. We've seen him near the top of the lineup as well. Bounce to Votto, who steps on first. The Cubs get an infield hit and a walk, but strand both runners. After one second career complete game, winning 2-1 over the Reds. The runs the Cubs got off Osvaldo Fernandez were unearned. Brandon Phillips wearing number 4 and batting 4th in the lineup against Randy Wells. This is Bradley in right. Sun not a problem for him at the moment, but will be in a couple of hours.
We got a real good look at Kosuke out in center field yesterday, really battling that sun. It'll eventually work its way into center field and then eventually right field. Right now, Bobby Scales in left field, and Ramos Ramirez and Ryan Terrio on the left side of the infield are dealing with the sun.
We see all different kinds of directional configurations around baseball. I'm trying to think of what the ideal one would be in terms of where home plate is with the sun. I suppose having home plate directly to the north isn't the worst spot for it, because the sun's going to be generally in the south going from east to west. I guess that would help out the defenders. But everybody's going to get it from one time or another.
I could be way off base here, and I usually am. But I think either the first baseball field or some of the first baseball fields were aligned with home plate and the mound north and south, because they always talked about southpaws. Left-handers were called southpaws, and no, that can't be right. East and west, because the southpaw then was throwing from the south side of the mound.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Something to that effect. You get my drift.
So that would be similar to the alignment here, although I guess the alignment's more of northeast to southwest. Yeah. Terrio throws. Rolen is out. It's 5 up, 5 down for Randy Wells. And unlike Rich Harden, who usually piles up a lot of strikeouts, and it has been a problem lately when you add the walks to it. Only went 4 innings through over 100 pitches yesterday. Randy Wells getting contact. Johnny Gomes tied the game yesterday with a 3-run homer off Jeff Stevens. He takes ball 1 low.
And you could, with a little bit of a stretch, you could draw a parallel between Johnny Gomes and Jake Fox. Guys that aren't known for their defense, but definitely a force in that batter's box. Johnny Gomes with big time power, as he displayed in the ball game yesterday. He hit one way out of here off of Jeff Stevens.
19 homers in just 269 plate appearances. He has slugged .563, and it went up on this swing yesterday.
And watch his reaction. You think he got it? Oh man. I mentioned there wasn't a lot of wind blowing in the ball game yesterday, but it wouldn't have affected that one at all.
Wells has done the most damage against the NL Central. 6 of his 10 wins come against the Central. He's 6-1 with a 1.78. Based on where the rotation is right now, his next scheduled start would be Thursday against Milwaukee, so he would miss that Cardinal series, but the Cubs could reconfigure if they want to. Gomes held up 3-2, and there has been talk about maybe giving Randy Wells a little extra rest as we get down the stretch. Ball 4. So he'll work from the stretch for the first time. Don't miss the action as the Cubs host the Reds tomorrow. Game time is 1:20, but be sure to arrive early. The first 10,000 fans will get a Cubs 1984 patch, compliments of Pepsi and the Lincoln Park Zoo. I guess that would be the 1984 patch that was worn in '85, right? They wouldn't have worn the Eastern Division patch before they won it.
Oh, you're sharp. That would be pretty optimistic to put a championship patch on your jersey at the beginning of the season.
Right. So it's an 85 patch commemorating 84.
There you go.
You would think I got a lot of sleep last night with that comment. Swing and a miss by Adam Rosales, who's playing shortstop. Saw Paul Janisch at short yesterday. A lot of day games here. This is the 10th day of a stretch in which the Cubs will play 9 matinees over 11 days. Night games coming up Monday, Tuesday, and I believe Wednesday as well against Milwaukee. And that leads us right into the Cubs Feldco upcoming schedule. So 3 straight night games here at Wrigley, and then the day game Thursday before the Cubs hit the road for their final trip of the season.
Hard to believe.
That's tapped, and Wells will throw out Rosales to end the inning. A 2-out walk, but no runs. Bottom 2 early on, no score.
Upstairs with you, pleased to be joined by actress Alyssa Milano. And she's not just an actress, she also has a fine fashion sense. And that's what brings you here to town this weekend, other than being at Wrigley, right?
Yeah, I had an appearance yesterday at Fans Edge at Northbridge. And, you know, I'm very excited to be at Wrigley, though. Beyond the clothing line, it's all about Wrigley today.
Your clothing line, especially for other women baseball fans like yourself, and you can see it through MLB Shop on Vandalia, right? And the line is called Touch, right?
It's called Touch, yeah, and it was basically an idea that was born out of necessity. I'm a huge baseball fan, and what do we got here? Oh.
Round out to third action.
And I've been a huge baseball fan since I was a little girl, and as a woman, I just got tired of going into the stadium shops and not finding anything that fit my body or that was made, you know, with a quality fabric. And so I pitched the idea to Major League Baseball, who gave me the licensing, and now we have the licensing for all the leagues. So I have stuff for NHL, NFL, college, and the NBA, so it's very exciting.
The expanding business. We'll get to Len and Bob in a moment. Really quick, your first trip to Wrigley, your impressions, and where the love of baseball. I know you do some blogging for MLB.com too.
I do. You know, baseball was my way of connecting with my father when I was a little girl. We moved out to Los Angeles from New York, and he was a huge Brooklyn Dodgers fan as a little boy.
Who's the Boss did that to you, right?
Exactly. And then when we moved to LA, you know, my dad was sort of angry at the Dodgers, moved to LA, and you know, it was when the Dodgers were having their best decade. So of course he was like, well, maybe I could be a Dodgers fan again. But the funny thing is his dog's name is Dodger, and every time the Dodgers stink, he changes the dog's name to Cubby, and he's like, I'm a Cubbies fan now. I'm a Cubbies fan. So you know, when we're not rooting for the Dodgers, we're rooting for the Cubs. And Wrigley is, I mean, the pictures don't do it justice. Mm-hmm. The pictures do not do it justice. It is absolutely breathtaking.
Well, welcome to Wrigley. Hope you enjoyed and enjoy the rest of your stay in Chicago.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your hospitality.
All right, it's Alyssa Milano. Len, Bob, let's send it back to you.
All right, Chris, thanks. And good to see Alyssa Milano here. We've seen her at Dodger Stadium many times. The Cubs have been in Los Angeles, and she is a huge baseball fan.
Boy, Chris gets all the tough interviews, doesn't he?
He does.
Jeez.
2 down in the inning, couple of ground outs, and it's Andres Blanco back in the lineup after tweaking his hamstring on the last road trip. Made an incredible play that day. It was Sunday in New York. Throwing out it was Jeff Rancourt from the seat of his pants at short. One of the plays of the year.
There have been a number of great defensive plays this year by Cubs on defense, but I don't know if any was better than the one Blanco made.
And he hits a seed in the air right at Brandon Phillips. So it's a quick 1-2 Comcast Sportsnet. At 6:30, the NIU Huskies battle Western Illinois and DeKalb, and then at 9:30, Purdue visits Oregon for a primetime matchup out west. Don't miss a college football doubleheader beginning tonight at 6:30 right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Seasons overlapping here, baseball and football, as Corky Miller has the Reds' first hit. Not the most likely candidate to pick up that first hit. He's known for his defense, and he's now just 2 for his last 25.
That's that nearly unhittable fastball we were talking about in the first inning of the ball game. Right at the knees on the outside corner. Corky Miller just dropped the head of the bat on it, lined it safely into right field. It's not that easy, Corky.
Cueto will try to move that runner into scoring position. Already squaring. And he gets it down. Derek Lee is going to bobble it. And the runner's safe. Oh, Derek mad at himself. Sacrifice for Cueto, an error on Derek, who I think took his eyes off the ball. He was thinking about second base, dropped it, and then didn't have time to get Cueto.
Yeah, correctly thinking about second base. He got to that bunt quickly, and with Corky Miller, the catcher, running from first to second, Derek wanted to try to get the lead runner. But in his haste, he lost the handle on the ball, and then after that, maybe just a little too slow recovering because Cueto was busting it down that first baseline and legs it out.
5th error of the year on Lee, and Randy Wells is going to try to pick him up now. They're still expecting Stubbs to lay down a bunt. Corner men are in.
We saw Giovanni Soto ready to throw to second base that time as Stubbs pulled the bat back. We talk about all the time a first and second sacrifice bunt situation. That runner at second base is always trying to get an extra step or two on his lead so he knows he can make it to third base. And when the batter bunts through the ball, you become very susceptible to those pickoffs at second base.
Well, base runners are base runners, and it's never good if with a team on defense, but they do have the catcher at second and the pitcher at first. So the Cubs do have a chance to get out of this thing if Wells can get a ground ball or two. 1-2 on Stubbs. Reds have really struggled on this road trip with runners in scoring position. They're 10 for 64. That's a 156 average. Kick the 1-2 pitch. We'll do it again.
If the Cubs are hoping to turn two with Drew Stubbs at the plate, it's going to have to be a hard hit ball right at somebody and a lightning quick turn at second base because Stubbs runs extremely well.
Wouldn't be an awful time for Randy's first strikeout of the day either. 2-2. I don't know about you. I kind of sometimes get at the end of my rope when it comes to runners in scoring position. Every team in baseball bemoans the fact that it's not hitting with runners in scoring position. At one time or another during the course of a season, you hear, well, how's your team doing? We can't get them in with less than 2 outs.
That's because it's hard to do.
It is hard to do when you remember the 7 or 8 outs you make, not the 2 or 3 hits. See if they can turn it. Oh, it hit the runner and bounces over the dugout. So everybody gets an extra base. And that's the right call. Joe West made the call from second. Ramirez wants to know why, but the throw went out of play. And actually a throw is 2 bases. And because the runners weren't not yet to the next base, the 2 bases for a guy at first, for instance, would be third. It's the right call, and Lou's going to come out and ask Joe West about it. A pitch is 1 base, a throw is 2 bases, and that's the second error of the inning.
You see Miller coming right in line. Boy, I hit him right in the helmet. That's using your head. I mean, Corky Miller did not do anything to go out of the baseline. He didn't intentionally interfere with that throw. He just happened to be right in line with Ramirez's delivery to second base. The ball bounced about 6 or 7 rows behind the Cubs dugout after it hit Miller in the back of the head.
I think Lou is just getting an explanation. There's really no argument to be made. That's a pretty basic rule. And the Reds lead 1-0, and they have him at second and third with nobody out. You think they would, if the throw is a good throw, would they have been able to double Stubbs? And if not, I wonder why Aramis didn't just go to third.
I don't think they would have been able to double Stubbs. That ball wasn't hit that hard, and Ramirez was very deliberate before making his throw to second base. I don't think they would have been able to turn two.
Only have one hit this inning with a big time threat and already on the board. When you think about it, it's surprising that doesn't happen more often. The runner getting in the way inadvertently of a throw. Ground ball. And the throw's going to go to the plate. And Cueto tagged out by Giovanni Soto. Nicely done by Ryan Theriot. We'll get another look at it. Was Cueto running on contact, or was there hesitation? Thought maybe there was a little hesitation on his part. We'll see.
He was actually going back to the bag at third, and he hesitated also. It was a good pickup right there by Ryan Theriot to notice Cueto breaking late down that third base line and take that throw to home plate to get the out. That's why managers don't like to have pitchers running bases. They always do something funny. I mean, you have to assume if Cueto was going on contact, Drew Stubbs would have been running on contact as well. That's usually what you do. If you're going to send the runner at third, you send the runner from second as well to get him to third base if you do throw the guy out at home plate. I think Cueto was just doing a little freelancing there. And once again, Giovanni Soto looked like he was winding up perhaps to make a throw to second base before that ball was fouled off. Real active behind the plate in the early going today.
2 strikes to Joey Votto. Strange half inning. Ground ball to first. The throw goes to second and is dropped by Theriot. Wow. That's 3 errors. The only guy on the infield who has not committed an error is Andres Blanco in this inning. They are loaded up.
Well, once again, just trying to hurry too much. Theriot trying to get out of the way of the runner, went to the inside part of the bag. That ball hit him on the heel of the glove and dropped out. He never got a bare hand on that ball. Joe West right on top of it. Indicates safe right away.
Well, there's no good news when it comes to 3 errors. The only silver lining is I think Randy Wells is as poised as any of the veteran starters, for that matter, on this staff. Very rarely gets rattled, and trying to limit the damage. Right now it's fair, and it kicks foul. And it's only natural for a pitcher to think to himself, come on guys, let's go. But I don't know if that ever really enters the mind of a guy like Randy Wells. I mean,
well, that's one of those things that's out of his control.
Yeah.
I think Randy Wells at a very early age in his career here has come to the realization that the only things you can really worry yourself about are the things that you can control out there on the mound. And he has done his job. He's thrown ground balls when he's needed ground balls. Unfortunately, the defense hasn't been able to make the plays.
Miscues by Lee, Ramirez, and Terrio in the inning. And a 1-1 to Phillips. Base hit center field. They get one, and that's it. As Mark Berry, the third base coach, holds McDonald at the third after Stubbs scored to make it 2-0, and Scott Rowland coming up with the bases still full. And Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, will now head out.
A rare mistake that time by Randy Wells. Got a pitch up and out over the plate to Brandon Phillips, a guy who has grounded into 17 double plays this season, but got an elevated fastball, drove it right back up the middle of the field to plate a run.
One other little insight, I can't guarantee it, but I have a pretty good idea. You know, while fans watching everywhere right now are commenting on how this inning is played out, I bet you Larry never mentioned the errors to Randy when he went to the mound, and I bet you he doesn't mention the errors to Randy the rest of the day. They may talk about it after the ball game, but a pitching coach's job is to talk about what do you need to do to get out of it. Psyche can sometimes be a little fragile, and you don't want to go out there and say don't worry about it, don't do this. You don't want to use negatives when you go out to the mound. Make your pitch, get out of it. (2-0) on Scott Rowland, as the Reds lead 2-0 here in the third. A pop up on the infield, and it's caught by Terrio for the second out.
I wish I could remember the specifics, Len, but I heard a story from Mike Flanagan, former Baltimore Orioles left-handed pitcher for years and years for Earl Weaver. And Flanagan threw a ground ball, and somebody kicked it on the infield for an error. Then he threw a fly ball to the outfield. The outfielder lost it in the sun. It dropped. Weaver made a trip to the mound and told Flanagan, listen, don't let him hit it on the ground, and don't let him hit it in the air. And turned around and walked back to the dugout. Flanagan proceeded to strike out the next hitter. The following hitter hit a line drive to short that Mark Belanger caught and tagged the runner right in front of him for a double play. And when Flanagan got back to the dugout, Earl Weaver said, see, I'm a genius.
Johnny Gomes down the right field line. Bradley drifts over, makes the catch in foul territory. That ends the inning. And again, 2 runs, but it could have been a whole. First time the Cubs have committed 3 errors in 1 inning since August 18th, 2006 against the Cardinals. Two and 1 the count. Do you happen to have, by the way, a copy of the broadcast of your famous game in San Francisco, the 4-error inning and then the game-winning hit, the home run to end the game?
I've got a video, a VCR tape of the game, yeah.
What were the announcers saying about your inning?
You know, I've never watched it. I mean, I've seen the highlights many, many times after the ball game. They were cut and put together, but I've never actually watched the game tape.
Rowland can't get it, but they get the out as Rosales recovered and Votto made a great pick at the other end. Boy, both teams with a case of the bobbles today, and it goes 5-6-3.
A hit off the webbing of Rowland's glove right to Rosales at shortstop. His throw looked like it was in the dirt to Joey Votto. Nice pick over at the other end. This is not one for the vaults right here. What a shaky defense in the early going. I've never actually watched the entire game tape, and the Braves didn't have their regular baseball crew doing that game. It was late in the season, in September, obviously, and I think Eddie Matthews was the color analyst. I'm not even sure who was doing the play-by-play on that game. I'm afraid to hear what they said.
Yeah, that's probably not an inning you really want to relive. But the ending was great.
All's well that ends well. Well, that was one of those rare moments. You hear guys talk about it all the time, basketball players that get in a zone and everything they throw up to the basket hits nothing but net. You see golfers that make 25 and 30-foot putts throughout the course of an afternoon, and they talk to them afterward and they say, I was just in a zone. It felt like somebody else was doing it and I was just there observing. Well, that's the way I felt after that 4-error inning. Like I was above the stadium watching somebody else play the rest of the game.
Ground ball. Phillips with a nice backhand, the spin, the throw, and the out. 2 down. Well, I think the last half inning does illustrate, and you certainly felt it that day back in, 1986, that these guys are human beings, and sometimes it gets between your ears, and we've not seen the Cubs defensively have an inning like this all season, for sure, and hopefully we don't see it again. I think you made a good point. It seemed like in that inning the Cubs were trying to do a little bit too much. Terrio hustling, but he's going to be thrown out by a mile by Scott Rowland. So 3 ground outs, couple of nice defensive plays by the Reds. 1,358. Who is a distant number 2 on that list? The one hint I will give you is the guy who is number 2 on the list has 1,018 fewer hits than Pete Rose as a Cincinnati Red. Why are you cheating over there? I see you looking through the media.
I guessed everybody I could think of yesterday and couldn't come up with it, so I'm cheating.
It's a good question to ask today as Adam Rosales leads off here in the 4th. Derek Jeter, now the Yankee all-time hit leader, broke Lou Gehrig's mark with a 3rd inning single against Baltimore last night. 2,722 hits. Record was intact for more than 7 decades. Also, the Rockies were down 1-0, scored 4 in the 9th for their 8th straight win. That was at San Diego, and Tim Lincecum talking about his back, could be back as soon as Monday for the Giants. Wells with a 2-2 pitch. Comebacker off the foot of Randy and past Blanco, who had vacated his spot as that ball originally was targeted toward center field. So that's a hit for Rosales.
That's a problem with those deflections off the pitcher on the mound. You'll see Terrio and Blanco both breaking toward the middle of the field where they thought the ball was headed, after it deflects off Randy Wells and went right back to the spot that Blanco started from.
Have you found it yet?
No.
So your guesses what was your first guess?
Dave
Joe
Concepcion
Morgan?
was my first, 'cause
he's 3rd on the list.
And
14 hits behind the guy who's 2nd.
Joe Morgan was another guess.
Not in the top 5.
Ken Griffey Sr.
Out of the top 5. That swing by Miller, strike 1. It's a good question. I mean, Pete Rose, the all-time hit leader and a lot of his career with the Reds. A runaway number 1, but number 2 not quite as simple.
Todd Benzinger.
Good guess, but no. to shallow center. Fukudome and Blanco, and it's Blanco to make the catch. Nice spin and throw, but Rosales back to first.
Rarely do you see an infielder call off a ball when he's running out to the outfield. It's not unusual to see a second baseman go out there, turn around, face home plate, get camped under a ball, and call off the outfielders. But I don't know that I've ever seen an infielder, as he's running out into the outfield, call off the outfielders.
Johnny Cueto squaring. Bunting to Derek Lee, and this time he's going to pick it up with two hands and tag Cueto. So he has 2 sacrifice bunts, lifting his season total to 6. What the errors do, though, is they do get guys back to the basics, which I guess isn't the worst thing in the world.
No.
I can tell you who the Reds' active hit leader is. Brandon Phillips. And he has 614. So that was as of a couple days ago, according to BaseballDailyDigest.com. They have all the hit leaders for the different teams. They had a pretty interesting question as well, which we can get into after we answer the Aflac. Stubbs hits it foul. They're on camera. There's the ball. Bouncer up the middle. Terrio ranging to his left. The throw is late.
You see Terrio takes a very deep line. He fielded that ball out near the outfield grass behind second base. From our high-speed shutter cam, you see the high-speed Drew Stubbs streaking down that line, registering an infield hit.
First and third, and it's McDonald taking a strike. You want the page?
Yeah, that would help. I'm not real familiar with this Reds guide, and I found everything but what I'm looking for.
All right, I will give you a hint. Not from the Big Red Machine era, more recent.
More recent?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I have it.
Pretty good question, though, when you think about the long history of the Cincinnati Reds. Terrio just can't get it. Rosales is in. Stubbs around to third. It's 3-0.
Terrio moving several steps to his left, just couldn't quite get there. The ball wasn't hit particularly hard, but just squeak it through into center field.
Rookie David Patton, who got up very early yesterday in the first inning, in fact, as Rich Harden struggled, has gotten up again early today. The kick, the 1-0 to Votto, in on his hands and muscle foul. couple of other games going on right now. The Orioles are in New York. They got a second inning grand slam from Brian Roberts off A.J. Burnett. They lead the Yankees 6-1 in the top of the fourth. And Oakland leads at Minnesota 2-1 in the bottom of the third. Two count, Devato. Ground ball to Lee, kicks off his glove. They get another run.
I'm afraid we're going to see another error on Derek Lee right here. That ball is just a step to his right. He went down to a knee and tried to backhand it. They gave him a single. That's very generous scoring there.
3 straight 2-out hits. Strike that popped out of Soto's mitt.
You know, Len, I talk all the time about the rhythm of the game, and sometimes it's real apparent that an individual player is just a tick behind where he needs to be. At the plate, defensively, what we're seeing is a collective out of sync ball club right now. It's so odd to see Derek Lee make physical mistakes on the field. Ryan Theriot drop a routine throw. We've seen a little bit of everything defensively here. Just a little out of sync with the game.
A ball and 2 strikes on Phillips. Had this argument with a lot of people about strikeouts and how sometimes they're overrated. Nobody on base. Strikeout versus a weak ground ball to short is basically the same thing. However, I will acknowledge today the Reds making contact has been huge. And where the lack of strikeouts for Randy Wells has hurt him, he has not struck out anybody, and this is a sort of day, and it's a rare one. But with the defense, as you said, out of sync, you do need to miss some more bats.
I mean, it's not like they're hitting him hard. There's only been a couple of hard hit balls off the bat of the Reds hitters today, but they have put the ball in play.
Pitcher and catcher will discuss it.
Possibly changing up the signs with Darnell McDonald out there at second base throughout this lengthy at bat. He's had an opportunity to peer in there and see Giovanni Soto's signs, and the Cubs just want to make sure that he's not relaying anything to Brandon Phillips at the plate.
Didn't mean to, and it's just foul the way it's gone today. I'm surprised it wasn't fair. Ready for another 2-2. Soto wants it down. It's in the dirt. 3-2. Runners go, and that's hammered foul.
By the way this game has gone up to this point, Len, I think I might try some kind of a pickoff right here. 3-2, 2 outs. The runners are going to be on the move. Sometimes you can bait that runner at second base into starting a little early if you split your infielders wide. Let the runner at second know that nobody's close to him at second base. He'll take an extra step or two on his lead and then do that inside move to second base, hopefully catching him breaking to third base early.
Ball 4 and the bases are loaded. Sign up for a subscription to Vineline, the official monthly magazine of the Chicago Cubs. Only Vineline offers exclusive coverage from spring training all the way through the Cubs' next postseason run. Visit the Vineline blog at Cubs.com and order today. Might be the last chance here for Randy Wells to stay in this game against Scott Rowland with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Last time Rowland batted with the bases loaded, and he popped out to the shortstop, Ryan Theriot. Rowland back in the National League. He was acquired from the Toronto Blue Jays. Raised some eyebrows around baseball, but bringing a veteran in, and the Reds, with him signed through next year, kind of looking ahead, even though they acquired a veteran. Outside corner, 2-2.
And the speculation was, besides his obvious physical talents, his great defense at third base, his power that he provides for the middle of this lineup, that veteran presence in the clubhouse, a guy who's played on winning ball clubs. He knows what it takes to grind out a long season and get to the postseason.
It's full, 3-2. Well, he was hitting .320 with the Blue Jays before he got traded. And certainly a longtime favorite of the Reds GM and former Cardinal GM Walt Jocketty. Runners will go on a 3-2. First, Wells steps off as Mark Berry was yelling at Joey Votto out at second base. There they go. Ball 4. He forces in a run. And it's 5-0, and Lou is going to go with David Patton. It's Alexis call to the pen. A 5-0 Reds lead.
Don't miss the action as the Cubs take on the Brewers at 7:05. Lucky seat winners will win great prizes throughout the game. Compliments of Van Campen Investments.
5 pick David Patton making his first major league appearance since July 4th. He was activated for the DL on September 2nd. It was 10 days ago. He was out with a right groin strain. He missed basically 2 months. 1-0 on Johnny Gomes. Randy Wells tying his shortest career start, 3 2/3 innings. Victimized by sloppy defense in the 3rd inning. They didn't hit really anything too hard in the 4th. The hardest hit ball was the one that went off his foot to start the inning. 2-1. They handed out an award for the quietest Cub. I think David Patton would win it. Boy, a rookie, he has kept his head down and going about his business every day. Hasn't created any waves. Nice young man. And lets his actions do the talking as he gets out of the inning. 1900, Pete Rose is the all-time Reds hit leader with 3,358. Who's number 2?
How about Barry Larkin?
Ding, 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 ding. Barry Larkin with 2,340 hits. A lot of the Big Red Machine guys on the list, but Barry Larkin, number 2. Called strike on Derek Lee.
Well, the good news is, Len, the same guys that make mistakes on defense are the guys that swing the bat. So you have an opportunity to do something here to get the team back into the ball game. A lot of baseball left to play today.
Ground ball right to Scott Rowland. Handled that one cleanly. Cubs with only one hit. That was an infield hit by Terrio. Ball that got stuck in the webbing of Rowland's glove in the first.
Let me ask you this, partner. Do you ever envision a day when a team will have an offensive lineup and a defensive lineup? Happens in football. You know, you put your 9 best hitters out there and let them swing away, and after you make 3 outs, you send your 8 best defenders out there behind your pitcher.
Wow. That's an interesting idea. Well, we were talking recently about if you had enough young kids, both position player wise and bullpen wise, with lots of options, you could time it out based on the parks you're playing in, particular pitching matchups where you kind of shuttle guys back and forth from AAA based on the matchups. So that kind of plays into your offense defense lineup. It's worth discussing, at least on a philosophical level.
You know, there have been a lot of players who washed out of their careers rather quickly because they couldn't swing the bat well enough to justify a roster spot, but they were great defenders. There were a lot of great hitters that just wore a glove to keep their hand warm. They couldn't catch a cold.
Didn't Mark McGwire one year, and he was battling some sort of injury, could not play defense? He batted like second in their lineup and then came out immediately. And Tony made a change after 24 years ago, September 1985. Is that
2 on that play?
Yeah, 2 on that one. This is the one where you really were upset. Right here.
Oh.
But that's how it ended off Paul Ossenbacher. Great finish.
Oh, what a day. You may have noticed, you probably didn't notice, but the catcher was Bob Melvin, who later became my bench coach and was manager up in Seattle and in Arizona. Saw him in New York on the last road trip. I blame it on him for calling the wrong pitches. They shouldn't have let him hit so many balls down my direction.
It's been over 3 years since the Cubs committed 3 in an inning. Patton against Rosales. That's low. We're in the 5th, 5-0 Cincinnati. The line on Randy Wells, 3 2/3, 6 hits, 5 runs, 3 were earned. He walked 3 and didn't strike out anybody.
All right, and I'll tell you something else, Len. This is not really that important in baseball, but when you think about it, to use a football term, time of possession. I mean, the Reds, just about everybody in our lineup has had 3 at-bats in this ball game already. We've got several players, 4 players that have only been to the plate 1 time. It seems like we've been on defense this entire ball game, or at least we've been positioned on defense. We haven't played a lot of defense.
And the Reds have left the bases loaded in each of the last 2 innings, even though they've scored 5 runs. Miller, the number 8 hitter, was acquired from the White Sox in late June. Back with the Reds team he played on from 2001 to 04, made 83 appearances during that time. pop up right field line. Good slide and attempt by Blanco, but he can't get to it.
Blanco with a lot to deal with on that pop-up in foul territory, looking up into the sun. He knows he's getting close to that dugout bench, or rather the bullpen bench. Trying to make a sliding effort there.
Oh, 2 on Miller. Rosales with a good lead at first. Late swing by Miller. So with Rich Harden going only 4 innings yesterday and Randy Wells going under 4 today, it's the first time this year in back-to-back games the Cubs starters have failed to go more than 4 innings. I guess the only fortunate thing about that is it happened with the expanded rosters, so the Cubs are fairly well covered. We did not see Angel Guzman late in a setup role with a lead, but they just want to give him a little extra rest. He's been very busy this season. As you said, Ismael Caridad is going to get some more chances, it appears.
Well, as teams slowly drop out of mathematical contention for a wild card spot or a division spot, that's what you use the last month of the season for, to really start to evaluate some of the players that may be key pieces for you next year. Get some innings for some of those young pitchers, get some at-bats for maybe some of the young hitters, and every team around baseball will do it. If you look at the box scores over the next 3 weeks of the season, you'll see a lot of unfamiliar names.
Call strike 3. One out in the inning.
Knuckle curve or spike curve, whatever term you choose to use. The middle finger of his right hand lays on the seam of the baseball, and the index finger is kind of held by the tip of his finger, where it causes that knuckle of his index finger to stick up in the air off of the baseball.
Cueto wanted to bunt again. He's put down 2 sacrifices today. All right, how about to continue the conversation about the offense-defensive lineups? What if you had maybe 3 different spots instead of a lefty-righty platoon, an offense-defense platoon? So those days where you have a ground ball pitcher on the mound, you go with your best defensive lineup, and at whatever position it is. On days you have a strikeout pitcher out there, you feel like you're going to have to score a lot of runs, you have the offensive part of that platoon. You know, a Jake Fox, Sam Fuld platoon, something like that, regardless of whether it's a righty or a lefty on the mound.
And I believe that's been done to some extent, different places. I know when Randy Johnson used to pitch for us in Arizona, we made sure to have our best defenders on the left side of the diamond. Is being a lefty, throwing that hard slider that Randy Johnson used to throw to the right-handed hitters, and he always faced a heavy right-handed lineup. You knew there was going to be a lot of action on the left side of the field, so we wanted to make sure that we had our best defenders on the left side of the infield when RJ pitched. If you had perhaps your number 4, number 5 starter taking the mound on a given day, you figure he's going to give up some runs today. We're going to need to score more runs, so you play your offensive line.
Swing and a miss. Back-to-back Ks for Patton. John Gunther from Milan, Illinois, a Department of the Army civilian who works at Rock Island Arsenal and is deployed in Joint Base Balad, about 45 miles north of Baghdad in Iraq. It's his 3rd deployment in support of Iraq freedom, and is home for 15 days on rest and relaxation at the game today with his wife Paula and mother-in-law Florence, and has been keeping up with the Cubs on the internet and watching games on the Armed Forces Network. Great to have John Gunther here at the ballpark today. 42nd Army Field Support Brigade. 112 degrees on that thermometer over in Iraq. One ball, one strike to Stubbs. Rosales walked to start the inning, but then Patton engineering back-to-back strikeouts. Cubs actually got Patton from the Reds, but he was with the Rockies organization. Trade was made on Rule 5 day. Rosales is in. His first steal.
What a great jump by Rosales, but he really accelerates into that head-first slide. I'll tell you what, this may be the worst year I've ever seen in Major League Baseball for guys sliding into bases. The idea is to slide to the base, not through it or over it or sideways, roll across it. And I'm not picking on Adam Rosales. We've seen it all around the league this year. Guys slide over the bag, are tagged out, slide so far wide they can't reach the base.
A rainbow out in the right. Bradley retreating, and he has it right on the edge of the track for the final out. Halfway home, Cubs have a lot of work to do offensively, trailing the Reds 5-0. Wells was not as bad as the line will look, and the problem has been defense. 3 errors in 1 inning today.
Yeah, it's tough to figure, Lenny. Just as I said earlier in the ball game, everybody was just a little bit out of sync today. A step slow getting to the ball, a step slow getting their hands on the baseball, and unfortunately Randy Wells will pay the cost for that. And
Johnny Cueto has been pretty good in a couple of starts since coming back from the disabled list and working with a 5-0 lead and throwing strike one to Giovanni Soto. For Cueto, this is his 4th start this year against the Cubs. He's 1-2 with a 4.34. Lifetime just 2-5 versus the Cubs. He had a 2.69 ERA on July 1st. But then over his next 8 starts, it ballooned. And he came in at 4.39 for the season. Right-hander Jeff Samardzija is up in the bullpen. Ball 4, leadoff walk. Maybe that's the start of something. First time the leadoff man is reached.
Hey, Len, we want to wish a happy birthday to our good friend Julius Farrell, Cubs event operations and security coordinator. We're told his age is unknown, but because of football injuries, his knees are 87.
Okay.
Happy birthday, Julius. Always good to see you here at the yard.
Sometimes if you have knee problems, they end up being about 1 or 2 because you get them replaced.
Yeah, get some new ones.
I want to give one last plug for a charity event coming up after the game today at 4 o'clock at nearby John Barleycorns. They're on Clark Street. It's for the Children's Neuroblastoma Cancer Foundation. It'll be hosted by Alfonso Soriano and Dave Kaplan from Chicago Tribune Live and WGN Radio. So if you're in the area, come on over. And go to grandslamgala.org for more information. Neuroblastoma is an aggressive form of childhood cancer, so they're helping raise awareness and funds for the foundation. Lou said yesterday it is doubtful Alfonso will be back in action this season. Pretty apparent he's going to have an arthroscopic procedure on his left knee in order to get ready for next year. Called strike 3 to get Scales for the first out. Just the second strikeout for Cueto. And thanks to the Menards grounds crew for taking care of the infield in between innings.
You know, Len, I was down in Cedar Rapids watching the Chiefs play in the tournament game, Midwest League tournament game the other day, and had an interesting little touch between innings. They had a local dentist who sponsored an opportunity for a child to go out and sweep off the bases with a big old toothbrush.
Very nice.
And the youngster was accompanied by a member of the Cedar Rapids Colonel's office staff dressed like the Tooth Fairy. So you see all kinds of stuff at minor league games.
Alyssa Milano moving a little closer to home plate. She's near the scout seats. I did not see it on the highlights, but there was a 6-year-old boy who ran onto the field at Comerica Park last night, the Blue Jays Tiger game. The end of the 7th, jumped out of the crowd, ran to the mound, and grabbed the ball. The boy eventually was helped back into the stands. He was able to keep the ball, and according to the AP story, it sounded like the kid had misunderstood his father's suggestion to go down and try to get a ball, meaning go down to the railing and ask for a ball. He just went right to the mound. Blanco strikes out, 2 away. And
easy,
it brings up Jake Fox as a pinch hitter.
Go get a ball? Sure, there's one laying right out there on the mound. I'll go get that one. Just a little miscommunication, that's all.
So here's Fox for Patton. David Patton did a nice job. His first big league outing in a while. Fox gets plunked to keep the inning alive for Fukudome.
Ooh. Got him on the hand or the wrist area. Maybe just back away from it. Maybe on the fingers.
The pitching coach Dick Pohl heads out to talk with Cueto and Miller. No action in the Reds pen. The Cubs trying to inch their way back into this game, trailing 5-0. Still no hits since the first inning. Cubs only have 1 hit in the entire game. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Thing you don't want to do against this Reds team, even though they come in 15 games under 500, you don't want to go into the 9th inning trailing. They're the only team in the National League that is undefeated when they lead after 8. They're 53-0. Closer is Francisco Cordero. He has 33 saves. I think the problem, Bob, is they haven't gotten to the 9th with a lead often enough. Bounced up the middle, not hit hard. Phillips will backhand, and he'll tag the base with the glove. Nicely done by Phillips, and that ends the inning. Cubs lead 2. They trail 5-0 after 5. Cap of the Bears and Packers matchup on U.S. Cellular. Bears post-game live. Pat Boyle and former Bears Jim Miller, Jerry Azuma, and Dan Jiggets break down all the action. Plus, Kim Lewis will bring you interviews with the players. U.S. Cellular Bears post-game live Sunday immediately after the game, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Jeff Samardzija back in the majors, working as a starter at AAA Iowa. And working in relief. It's been a tough year for Jeff. He's been on that shuttle back and forth. But a learning experience.
Yeah, I think the learning experience basically involves the same things he was working on last year, trying to be more consistent with his secondary pitches. We know he has great movement on that sinking, tailing fastball. He just can't seem to find a consistent release point for the slider and the splitter. And I think when he does that, he can forget his days of riding the shuttle.
So he's been called up 3 times this year from Iowa. 1-2 on McDonald, who knocked in a run with a single in the 4th and later scored. The Reds are trying to end a 5-game skid and the Cubs' 4-game winning streak. It's picked clean by Ramirez for the out. So McDonald lines out.
You see Aramis Ramirez look over his shoulder. Ed Rapuano, the third base umpire. Rapuano points at Joe West, the second base umpire. The third base umpire was actually screened by Aramis Ramirez's body. He couldn't really see whether he caught it in the air or short hopped it, so he asked the second base umpire, and Joe West gave the out sign.
Joey Votto with 3 hits in the series, knocked in a run with an infield hit as part of that 3-run 4th. Good location, 2-1. Just missed on a heater at 93. 3 balls and a strike. Swing and a miss. Good tailing movement on that pitch. Another close one that just out of the zone. Votto walks. Hey, Cub fans want to throw out the first pitch at Wrigley on September 30th. How about taking some swings inside the Cubs batting cage, or maybe playing catch with a friend by the ivy? Your friends at MetLife want to make that happen. Visit Cubs.com/MetLife to enter for your chance to win. It's a pretty neat deal. You know, I've never played catch at Wrigley Field. I've never hit the batting cage. Which one would you do if given the opportunity? Throw out the first pitch. I'd do them all.
No, it'd be nice to do them all. Yeah.
I don't mind taking some shots at the wall, the batting cage.
I'll tell you, at this time of year,
cork bat.
Yeah. At this time of year at Wrigley Field, it might be fun to play catch out by the ivy. You might get a couple dozen baseballs out of the vines out there if you plan it right. That'd be a lot of fun.
A great promotion, so make sure you check it out. Cubs.com/MetLife for a chance to win. That's September 30th here at Wrigley Field.
You know, you could see what it feels like to be Sam Folds. Get about 50 feet away from the ivy and run as hard as you can and jump into the bricks and make believe you're catching a home run ball.
See if they can turn 2, 4, 6, 3. They do. Phillips rounds into the double play, and the 6th inning for the Reds is over. The Cubs coming back on offense in the 6th. Comcast, and you'll have access to Comcast Sportsnet Cubs games ready to watch on your schedule. To find out more, call 1-888-4-BEST-TV. Len and Bob and our Comcast Sportsnet crew from Wrigley Field. Most fans are paying attention to the game. Some are just hanging out in the bleachers, taking pictures of each other.
Well, if you are paying attention, it's time to go. Cubs need to get something rolling against Johnny Cueto.
One and one to Terrio. 2, 3, 4. This would be a pretty good spot to start a rally. A lot of the notes columns written by the beat writers in the papers today and online are about Lou's comments regarding the leadoff situation next season. He indicated that Alfonso Soriano would not go back to the leadoff spot, and Lou hedged, and why not? He doesn't know what the roster looks like next year in terms of who will be the leadoff man. Now Kosuke Fukudome has done it a little bit lately. He wouldn't commit there. He said Fukudome is probably a top of the order guy. Terrio's a guy you can move around a little bit, but it's possible the Cubs could go out in the offseason, acquire one via free agency or a trade, and just say you're our leadoff guy. So nobody's really quite sure. Inside to Terrio. I think Fukudome, Bob, would be a really good candidate. But what would make him a great candidate in the eyes of Lou would be, as we talked about yesterday, maybe some more stolen bases.
Or at least a higher stolen base percentage. Kosuke probably with the best eye of any Cubs hitter as far as taking his base on balls, working a lot of deep counts. He can bunt for a base hit, but just hasn't had much success either when straight stealing a base or in many cases was thrown out on the back end of a hit and run when the batter swung through the ball.
Big swing by Lee, and he missed it. I think the other part of it with Fukudome in particular is he's not a straight platoon player, but against tough left-handers, Lou has gone to other options. And ideally, you'd have a guy who'd be your leadoff man either way. And what that would lead you to believe is they may at least look at some switch hitters who might be available on the market.
Derek Lee, for his part, said he didn't feel the Cubs needed to make a lot of changes. They just need guys to play up to their capabilities.
And he just pokes that ball out into right center, and it'll send Terrio all the way around to third. They're at the corners with no outs. They kind of peck away at Johnny Cueto, a leadoff walk and a single, setting it up for Ramirez.
Kind of a defensive swing on a tough pitch, down low and away. Got enough bat on it to poke it out there into shallow center field, and Terrio got a good read at first base and moves all the way around to the other corner.
I do believe what Derek says is is true. A part of the equation next year has to be improvement by guys on this roster, but along those lines, I do think Jim Hendry will certainly tweak the roster. He won't come back with the same guys exactly, as it'll get down and get past through Stubbs. Cubs get on the board. Ramirez with an RBI single, scoring Terrio, and it's 5-1.
Good strategy by Ramos Ramirez. Swing hard, hit it soft. Drew Stubbs froze momentarily out there in straightaway center field. As you can imagine, when a big power hitter like Ramirez takes a full swing, you want to make sure he doesn't hit the ball over your head, but that time it just got out there in shallow center and fluttered and died on the grass.
And with that, some quick action in the bullpen. That's Ramon Ramirez with Bradley at the plate. Still nobody out. If the Cubs made as many changes as they did after a 97-win season, you can bet they'll make more changes after this season. Question is how many and where. Bradley lines out deep to center. Lee on his way to third. They're at the corners. One out with Soto digging in. Bradley got good wood on it, but for an out.
Possibly the hardest hit ball in this game by a Cubs player. Unfortunately, hit it to straightaway center field, giving Stubbs enough room to get back on the track. Derek Lee read it well, tagged up, and moves on up to third base.
Cubs have been pretty aggressive in this inning after the walk to Terrio, and Soto high in the air, deep to left. Gomes on the warning track, and he can't make the catch. In and out of the ivy. Lee is in. Ramirez to third. It's a double for Soto. He just missed a 3-run homer.
Cueto missed his spot by about 3 feet right there. That pitch was supposed to be off of the outside corner. He threw it back on the inner third of the plate, and Gio just does miss hitting it out of here. Hit right at the base of the basket, dropped down at the feet of Johnny Gomes. Just enough wind blowing in today to keep that ball in the ballpark.
A 5-2 game with the tying run now at the plate. Daniel Ray Herrera, screwball specialist, is in the pen, and Dusty Baker out to the mound. And he is calling for Herrera. Got ready pretty fast. So Cueto is out. It's Alexis' call to the pen. The Cubs are rallying here in the.
The shuttle departs from Gate D at Sheffield and Addison 20 minutes after the end of each Cubs home game. Return service is free as well. Don't miss your chance to enjoy Horseshoe Casino. For more information, call 866-711-SHOE.
Daniel Ray Herrera, or Danny as we call him, will face switch hitter Bobby Scales, who will turn around and bat right-handed. Herrera's been deadly against lefties, who are hitting 194 against him. Righties at 351. And a high fly ball out in the center. Ramirez is going to tag Soto as well. Stubbs the catch. The throw goes to third. Ramirez in. Soto holding. 5-3. On a Scales sacrifice fly.
Like Scales determined he wasn't going to give Herrera an opportunity to get deep into the sequence. Jumped on the first pitch he saw. Hit it well to straightaway center, but still have one more man in scoring position out there. Cash one more in this inning.
It's Blanco turning around and batting right-handed. the glove of Miller, but Soto wasn't able to advance. I wondered if Herrera might be more effective against righties with the screwball. It moves down and away from right-handed batters, but that has not been the case.
He also throws a slider to the left-handed hitters. He's known for that screwball just because it's a unique pitch. Very few guys throw a legitimate screwball into major leagues anymore. But he's got a good breaking ball as well.
There's a breaking pitch. 3-1. Blanco and Michael Hoffpower on deck. Backhanded play by Caridad, protecting the bullpen. 3-2 to Andres. What would the sign be for a catcher for the screwball?
Probably the same sign you would give any other pitcher for a changeup.
Okay. 4, wiggle your fingers.
Yeah.
One would be fastball, 2 curve, 3 slider. Surrounded the strike zone, but he didn't get it. And Hoffpower is going to head back into the dugout. Baker, yeah, it'll be Jeff Baker to take the at bat.
Just fell off the inside corner of the plate. Well, I thought for a moment there we might see Alfonso Soriano come out of that dugout, Len. We know he's got problems with his knee that will probably require surgery. It certainly affected him defensively in running the bases, but take one shot at it, especially with 2 outs in the inning.
And Dusty is not going to let Herrera face the righty, it appears. And he's already made the call. And his throw hit Corky Miller right in the helmet, bounced out of play as they scored a couple of unearned runs in that 3rd inning. Now it's right-hander Ramon Ramirez against Jeff Baker. A fly ball left center as Johnny Gomes will one-hand it, and that's the inning. The Cubs get 3 to get on the board for the first time. They trail 5-3 after 6. Cubs host Ryan Braun and the Milwaukee Brewers. Sports night at 6:30 gets you set for the game. And it's the Cubs hosting the Brewers Monday night at 7 right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Jeff Baker remains in the game at second base. So Andres Blanco's done. And Kevin Gregg will go into Blanco's spot in the lineup. That's 8 in the Cubs order. 5-3 Cincinnati as we start the 7th. Grammy nominated band The Fray will conduct our 7th inning stretch coming up. Here we go. Scott Rowland, strike 1. Neither team got a quality start as Randy Wells gave up 5 runs, 3 earned in just 3 2/3, and Johnny Cueto could not get through 6. He allowed 3 runs in 5 1/3. Rowland went too far, 1-2. Tried to get him on a slider, and it was a little bit outside. After Rolen, it's Johnny Gomes and then Adam Rosales. And a base hit into center. There's no better place for Cubs fans to hold a holiday party than Harry Carey's Italian Steakhouse in Chicago, Rosemont, or Lombard, or Harry Carey's Tavern right here in Wrigleyville. Call 773-HOLY-COW or visit harrycareys.com to plan your event today.
Couple of quick notes here, Len. Robert Bluff wants to wish a happy 38th anniversary to Jim and Judy Thraselius. So do we. Happy anniversary. And Linda Mikowski.
6-4 to 3. A double play. They've turned 2 the last 2 innings. This time they get Gomes.
Linda Mikowski is very happy to be at her first game at Wrigley. A 45-year Cub fan, came all the way from Martinsburg, Nebraska, and she's happy for this double play. Terrio to Baker to Lee.
Rosales with the bases empty and 2 outs. Inside, 40,351 on a glorious day here on the north side. Temperatures in the mid-70s, a breeze coming in off the lake. We got an email recently from Tom Johnson in Westmont, Illinois. Wanted to know if Jake Fox is connected with Nellie Fox in any way. Nellie's full name was Jacob Nelson Fox. Wondered if Jake was named after him. Well, we'll ask. Rosales sprints down the line after a 2-out walk.
I need a little help on this one, partner. I need you to make a call here. We got a note from Chrissy Anderson. And it says, since she can't marry the Cubs, she'll marry Joe. How do you think that makes Joe feel?
Wow. Her 26th choice?
Ooh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, expanded rosters, maybe even lower than that, Joe.
34th to 35th on the list. Corky Miller pops it up. Short right. Bradley catches it. Time for the stretch with the Fray.
Today's guest conductors for Take Me Out to the Ball Game are the Grammy-nominated rock band, The Fray.
All right, Cubbies, y'all ready? A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and crackers. I don't care if we never get back, 'cause it's root for the Cubbies. If they're winning, it's a shame, 'cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out at the old ball game. Throw that out of there, buddy. Peace.
Bottom of the 7th inning. It's the top of the Cubs order. Fukudome, Terrio, and Lee. We're with Isaac Slade from the Fray.
What's up?
Nicely done with the 7th inning stretch. Did you say buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks? I already did. Or who threw that into the
I
mix?
believe it was a improvisational refrain that I shouted.
I like it.
Did, yeah.
That's a nice little unique twist on the song. How was the Cracker Jack today?
It's fantastic. I was thinking like the Cracker Jack guy wrote that song. because it's been his commercial for the last 150 years.
It is, and I believe the actual lyric is Cracker Jack, not Cracker Jacks.
Well, you can sue me.
No, I think you got. Did you get it right?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
Cracker
Well, nobody ever
Jacks.
does. Nobody ever does. So.
Follow the people, you know.
So you guys have been around for quite a while now. 2002, as you were formed in Denver, as it's popped up by Fukudome and no play for Corky Miller. You guys have been around for about 7 years, huh?
Yeah, we're in our 7th year stretch right now.
And in a very good stretch, a very successful stretch.
Thanks, man.
Got a great hand from the fans here. And this is the second time you guys have been here, at least since Bob and I have been here. Great to see you. You're going to be in Champaign on Tuesday.
Yeah, we're playing this cool college tour, doing some cities we haven't been able to get to on the regular tour this fall. So yeah, it's been great.
What I want to know, Isaac, is as you've gotten a little older, have the fans stayed about the same age? Or, I mean, you keep the fans you started with when you began your career as Fukudome walks to lead off the inning. But your music reaches out to certainly a young and vibrant audience. They keep you young, right?
That's a good question. There's a section that has started in high school and they're in college now. But there's a good number of them that like keep restocking, like in the bottom. And they get to college, the high schools come in, the junior hires get kicked out, and then they finally get back in. And yeah, we get a good cross section. We got some 40 and 50-year-old women screaming in the front row. You know how that goes.
Sure. Bob can answer
I've
that.
heard. I wouldn't know.
Terrico lifts it into right center. And McDonald will cut it off and make the play.
See, our demographic's a little older than that, Isaac. We have 60 and 70-year-old women screaming in the front row.
Right in the front row. Yeah, you know how it is.
Derek Lee will come up with 1 on and 1 out. Bob's biggest fan.
There they are.
And you guys have recorded.
Long shot.
Dorothy loves Bob. We know Dorothy. Dorothy also a big fan of the Kanye West version of Heartless. And
nice segue.
we need to get a copy of the phrase version of that song in Dorothy's hands. How did that come about?
Actually, there's a BBC Radio 1 show called Joe Wiley, and they make you play your song and then another top 40 hit. And we tried Britney Spears. It was a fiasco. We stuck with Kanye. It worked out really well. It's a good song, man.
It's low. 2-0 to lead.
Yeah, I've heard some of those things. That show you're talking about on the BBC, where the artists play something else, and there's some great versions of songs that come out of it.
Yeah, I mean, they used to do that all the time in the 50s and the 60s. Like, everybody played with everybody. And then it got all weird and commercial, so trying to bring it back.
Way inside, Ramirez struggling with his command, already walking 1. And in danger of walking Derek Lee with the RBI man, Aramis Ramirez, on deck. I don't want to put you on the spot, Isaac, but are you rooting for the Rockies this year, or some Cub fans in the group maybe?
You're allowed to have 2 teams, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I got 2 teams. I'm a 2-team man. But you know, it's a double rooting power. So either way, I'm pretty stoked. I'll tell you what, though, I was really stoked. I was supposed to throw the first pitch today, and plane got grounded or something. And I practiced. I mean, like, I YouTubed the commissioner throwing it really bad, and then I went out and I bought a baseball and started practicing. I got gloves. I made Joe play with me out in the field by our studio.
3-2 on Lee. So you guys got here just a little late and not able to throw out the first pitch.
I landed at 11:40 when I was throwing it, so trying to work it out. I was a baseball kid back in the day.
Well, next time you come, make sure you get to throw out that first pitch.
Have you thrown it out?
No, I don't know who actually threw out the first pitch.
You've done it, though, right?
I have never done it.
What?
Ball 4. See, I'm usually up here in the booth.
Dude, you gotta get Bob here to take over for the first half hour, man. You just get out there.
A bad idea. Dusty Baker's going to make a double switch. Nick Massett is up in the bullpen and is going to head into the game, and it's like Paul Janisch will enter as well for Adam Rosales. So they get it all sorted out. It's the Alexis Day at 7:05, but be sure to get here early. The first 10,000 fans will get a Cubs deck of cards, compliments of only Vegas. Nick Massett making his second appearance in this series. 1 inning, 1 run on 2 hits yesterday. Paul Janisch in to play short. It's a Ramos Ramirez at the plate. Ball 1. Cubs are trying to come all the way back after trailing 5-0. Trying to overcome a 3-error inning in this ball game. Inside corner, 1-1. Here's a pitch, swing and a miss. Cue shot. Massett will have to go over and cover first. Throw goes to second. Everybody's safe. Votto apparently decided he only had 1 play, and that was second. And they are loaded up. That'll be a hit for Ramirez.
Jam shot roller to that right side. Massett initially went after the ball, then retreated toward the bag. As you said, Votto probably figured the only play they were going to have was at second base, and it looked like Paul Janisch gave up on the play out there at second. He never went to the bag. Big break for the Cubs right there.
Contact was so bad it was good. Here's Milton Bradley.
Milton put a charge on one last at bat in the 6th inning. Unfortunately, hit it to straightaway center field, chasing Stubbs all the way to the warning track. Find a hole.
A kick and the pitch to Bradley. A ground ball foul. Two-run game. The bases are loaded in the 7th. The 0-1 pitch. 0-1 outside on a fastball. 1-1. Pop up near the bullpen and just back into the seats.
Get it, Wind.
It did. Light but steady at 8 miles an hour when we started. That was 2.5 hours ago. They should almost do a couple of different wind readings just to keep everybody up to date, but it still looks like it's about 5 to 8 miles an hour out of the northeast. Big swing by Bradley, just got a piece of it. Still a ball and 2 strikes.
And looking at this defensive alignment by the Reds in the outfield, what a contrast from what we saw in Pittsburgh on that last road trip. And we talked about it at length. The Pirates like to bunch their outfielders, take away the gaps. The Reds are playing pretty much straight up. If anything, they're giving a lot of extra room in the gaps.
Another 1-2 pitch is inside. This is a key one now for Massett. He does not want to go to a full count and risk walking in a run. And he struck him out. Two down. That's a big one for Massett.
Like a good off-speed pitch, either a straight changeup or a splitter. In the dirt, Milton Bradley just couldn't hold up.
DeSoto's been swinging the bat really well here lately. Just missed a home run his last time up as he doubled off the wall in left. Grounded out against Massett yesterday. The kick, the pitch. Couldn't hold. 1-1. Dome at third, Lee at second, Ramirez at first. The 2-1 to Soto. Deep to left center. Stubbs chasing after it. Going to be over his head. 2 are in. They're going to try to get the lead. Ramirez coming around. Throw to the plate. In time to get the out. Excellent relay to get Ramirez. Cubs took a little bit of a chance, but it took a perfect throw to keep this game tied. Soto knocks in 2, and it's 5-5 after 7.
Out over the plate and smoked it to the 368 mark. You knew the Cubs were going to get a couple here. The question was, could Ramirez score all the way from first base? A good relay throw by Paul Janisch right on the money to Corky Miller. He blocks the plate off from Aramis Ramirez. Final out made at home plate. It was worth a shot. It took 2 perfect throws, one from Stubbs to Janisch, another from Janisch to Miller, and they were able to do it.
Left-hander John Grabo deals a strike to Janisch, gets his first at bat. A 5-5 tie. Well, you saw Janisch splinter the end of his bat. Little piece came off the end of the bat. Each team with a 2 and a 3-run inning in this game. Janisch just 2 for his last 32. He went 0 for 3 yesterday. Did walk twice and stole his first career base. Swing and a miss. Got him on a changeup.
It's a real good pitch for John Graybo against right-handed hitters. Occasionally he'll turn it over. It almost looks like a screwball. We talked about Daniel Ray Herrera earlier in the ball game for the Reds throwing a legitimate screwball. Well, occasionally John Graybo's changeup will come out of the side of his hand and look like a screwball.
A 1-1 on the way. Stubbs missed that one. Graybo sticks with a changeup. 1-2. Like he wants to throw the change again. And he gets a ground ball to Aramis Ramirez, who throws across. With 2 outs, it's Darnell McDonald. If you've never been to Wrigley Field or been 1,000 times, a guided tour of the friendly confines has something for everyone. Each tour includes visits to places like the press box, clubhouses, dugouts, and much more. Tours are available on select dates throughout the season. Tickets are $25, and a portion of the proceeds benefits Cubs designated charities. For more info or to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com. A 1-1. Graybo ahead, 1-2. Changeup's really working well today.
Not only that, Len, but the important thing about a changeup is to show a fastball somewhere so that batter has a speed to judge. And Graybo's been able to throw his fastball in positions where it can't be hit. It gives the hitter an idea of how quick that fastball is going to be. They make an adjustment, and he throws the changeup again. I mean, if you never throw a fastball, your changeup becomes your fastball. You have to show something with velocity on it in order for that changeup to be effective.
It was a heater at 88.
And notice the location, up and out, away, where the hitter's not likely to swing at it, but he gets a real good look at the speed.
Changeup away, 3-2. Rick Ocasek look-alike. Base hit left field for McDonald. Maybe a poor man's McCartney imitator, possibly.
You say so?
Votto 1 for 3 with an infield RBI hit and a walk. His average going up from 299 to 300 to this point. Bottom 8, Oakland leading at Minnesota 4-2. Michael Wirtz now working for the A's. He's had a good year. His ERA is under 3. Twins missing a couple of chances to gain ground on Detroit. The Tigers have lost 4 in a row, but the Twins have lost their last 2. Closer Carlos Marmol is up. And they're in the bottom of the 9th in New York. The Orioles lead the Yankees 7-1. Tough day for A.J. Burnett. He gave up 6 runs in 7 innings. Brian Mattis 7 innings, 1 run for Baltimore. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. 2 Ks in the inning for the lefty Graybo. Bottom 8, 5. Okay, Gale, 5-5. New ball game as the Cubs tied it. on a 2-run double by Giovanni Soto in the 7th, and Arthur Rhodes making his 777th career appearance. That now ties him with Hall of Famer Gaylord Perry for 46th on the all-time games pitched leaderboard. Bobby Scales late, 1-1. Opponents are hitting under 200 against the veteran Rhodes. It's hoisted into right. No problem for McDonald. Time to bring you up to speed with the AT&T Rapid Rewind. That was an inning the Cubs would rather forget. The top of the third, 3 errors, leading to 2 unearned runs. Really good defense by Adam Rosales. They get the 5-6-3 out, and then the spin and the throw by Phillips. And it looked pretty bleak for the Cubs at the time, but they've come all the way back. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world, delivered. Aaron Miles hitting for Grable. Kick, the 0-2, up and in.
And so far in this ball game, a great job by the bullpen. Once again, we highlighted them in the open of the show for the ball game yesterday and the stellar work that they did. And after the Cubs fell behind early in this game, you needed a good performance by the bullpen to give the offense a chance to get back in the game, and they've done just that.
The Cubs have a chance to win for the 2nd straight day in which the starting pitcher didn't give them a whole lot in terms of innings. 4 yesterday, only 3 2/3 in this one. Another fly ball. This is Stubbs in center. So with Miles hitting for Grable, we're going to see Marmol in the 9th. It'll either be to preserve a tie or to pick up the save, depending on what happens here with Jeff Baker.
Yeah, it's pretty much standard operating procedure to use your closer to save a tie at home, knowing that you get the final at bats in the ball game. So Marmol's warmed up, locked, loaded, ready to go.
And on the flip side, Dusty Baker will probably save Francisco Cordero until or if they get a save situation. It's 2-1 to Baker. Make it 3-1. Nice email from big Cub fan Norma Ozelli from Valparaiso, Indiana, commenting on the friendliness of the workers here at Wrigley Field. Also, I guess they were here yesterday celebrating her 3 kids' birthdays. Not sure if they're triplets or not. Ground ball picked up by Janisch. Throws across. Tim and Vince Chelp and Kim Schutzke. Happy birthday. 5-5 to the ninth.
Of all the action, analysis from Todd Hollinsworth, plus check in on Lou Pinella's post-game remarks. Don't miss Lowe's Cubs post-game live immediately following the game right here on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend.
So the closer tries to keep this game tied. Give the Cubs a chance for a last-at-bat win. Been perfect in save chances since he was named the closer. 8 for 8. Not a save situation today. Trying to save a deadlock. They'll face Phillips, Rowland, and Gomes. One of the youngsters back in school, but not on a Saturday. Unless they got detention or something. Wouldn't want that.
Breakfast Club.
Yeah. Oh, and 1 to Phillips. 0-2. He foul tipped it on a fastball. Arnold pitching with a lot of confidence lately. He's really taken to the 9th inning. The Reds have scored 5, but I'm guessing they are kind of feeling like they left some chances out on the bases. They left the bases loaded when they scored their runs in the 3rd and the 4th. And while it was 5-0, Bob, this game could have been 8 or 9-0 very easily.
Very easily. As a matter of fact, the Reds have left a runner on base every inning with the exception of the first when they went down 1-2-3.
A line shot base hit. That's a rarity. Base hits are few and far between against Marmol. And it came when he was ahead in the count. That's only the 37th hit against him in almost 67 innings. They will not be asking Scott Rowland to lay down a bunt.
Earlier in his career, there were times that Scott Rowland would try to bunt for a base hit if that third baseman played him very deep. I think at this stage of his career, he's looking to drive a ball in the gaps or out of the ballpark.
Back to the note about the few hits allowed by Marmol. Jarrett Burton and Francisco Cordero are up in the bullpen. Among all relief pitchers, Marmol has allowed the fewest hits per 9 innings. He's the only guy in baseball who has given up fewer than 5 hits per 9 innings, 4.86. So that is just off the charts. Up the middle, Terrio steps on second, throw to first, double play, 6-3.
Talk about it all the time. The best double play ball is a ground ball that leads your middle infielders to the bag. This one deflected by Marmol right to Terrio on the base. Plenty of time to complete the relay for the double play.
Well, good thing Marmol didn't really get a piece of it. That would have ruined the rhythm. They may not have gotten any outs. Johnny Gomes, ball 1. Cubs have turned 3 double plays over the last 4 innings. A slider in there. Little flinch by Paul Schreiber, who decided not to call it a strike. 3-1.
Think long, you think wrong. That's a pretty good looking slider right there. At the knees on the outside corner. When Gio caught it, it had to be all over the plate. Another one. Man. I didn't know what's coming. Those are two pretty good looking pitches.
Kevin Barker will pinch hit. Left-handed hitter. He bats in the pitcher's spot. Or Arthur Rhodes. Remember, Kevin Barker was in the Brewers organization. He looks a little thicker than he was back then. He's a big dude. AAA Louisville's most valuable player for the second straight year.
It's always good to be named the most valuable player of your team. You just don't like it to be at the same level 2 years in a row.
Inside. Oh, well, Marmol doesn't give up any hits. He leads the majors in hits per 9 innings pitched. He also has given up the most walks per 9 innings pitched among all relievers, almost 8. Fans want a strikeout. It's 2-2 to Barker. The pitch. Man, is he just missing.
That would look like it kind of came around the outside corner of the plate. Gio tried to push it back there. That one was outside.
The thing about it, though, when he's missed in this inning, it hasn't been by a lot, and that had been a problem earlier. Runner goes on the 3-2, and it's grounded foul. Barker made his major league debut with the Brewers 10 years ago, 1999. Went from 03 to 05 without any major league time, and again in 07, 08. Brewer, a Padre, a Blue Jay, and now a Red. Runner goes again, ball 4. Corky Miller looking into the dugout to see if he's going to bat. He will not. And switch hitting Drew Sutton will bat for him. You can say a walk is a walk, but these walks have felt a little different than some of the other ones we've seen when he's gotten into a lot of trouble with a lot of wildness. He hasn't been wild today. He's just been missing.
Just missed, yeah. But the bottom line is the Reds have the go-ahead run at second base with 2 outs in the inning. Good contact hitter in Sutton coming to the plate. Carlos needs to find that zone and find it quickly.
Sutton has played all over the place, second base, third base, shortstop, and outfield, and he switch hits, so he's a versatile guy. It's like those two guys are ready. It's just a matter of which guy will pitch the bottom of the ninth. It'll be Burton most likely in a tie, and Cordero if the Reds get the lead. 1-1. That's into the right field corner, and it will give the Reds the lead. Johnny Gomes scores, and Bradley's throw missed everybody. As Barker scores as well, it's 7-5. That's a pinch hit, go ahead, 2-run double for Drew Sutton.
Boy, came on a middle of the plate fastball down around the knees. That's about as hard a contact as we've seen against Carlos Marmol in a couple of years. And we've seen Milton Bradley do this on several occasions this year. Just pick up the ball and throw it blindly back toward the infield. I don't believe the Cubs would have had a play on the trail runner there at home plate, but go to a cutoff man.
I'm with you. As the ball arrived to the infield, Barker was already scoring. It hit him. Got a piece of Giannis. And now some of that wildness coming back, and quickly they're going to get Justin Berg up in the bullpen.
Talking about the hits per 9 innings, the walks per 9 innings. That's the 12th batter that Carlos Marmol has plunked this year. Far and away leading this pitching staff.
Slider strike to Stubbs. And he's one off now the major league lead in hit batters. And Bob, that includes starting pitchers.
Guys that have thrown upwards to 175, 180 innings on the season.
Although now that I look at it, Johnny Cueto hit one batter today. Now it's 14 on the year. 2-run double by the pinch hitter Sutton, and the Reds lead to the bottom of the ninth, and the Cubs will have Cueto with a 2-run double. Unfortunately, the Cubs could not get the lead on the play as Aramis Ramirez was thrown out to end the inning. The BMW Ultimate Drive is at Soto, 2-base hit. Ryan Hannigan is in to catch. Drew Sutton plays left after giving them the lead, and closer Cordero now does the pitching, and a strike on Fukudome. The 0-1 is low. 1-1. Pretty simple. 2 to tie, 3 to win.
I'd love to get down to a Aramis Ramirez spot in the lineup with a chance to do some damage. Rami, one of the Cubs that has had success against Coco Cordero, 4 for 9 lifetime with a home run.
Ground ball, backhanded by Votto. And a 3-1 putout. Ryan Theriot with 1 out. Inside 2-0. Any base runner now, and tying run will come to the plate. Those are very familiar with Francisco Cordero, former Milwaukee Brewer. McDonald in a couple of steps, now back, 2 outs. One of the great Cubs moments in the Lou Piniella era came at Cordero's expense. They seemed to turn around the 07 season when Ramos Ramirez hit a game-ending home run on the first pitch slider from Cordero. Well, they were tied after 8, but took the lead in the top of the ninth. So basically, with Cordero in as a save situation, they're pretty darn good. He closes it out. A very quiet ninth. They go 1-2-3 and win the game 7-5 to set up a rubber match tomorrow. The Cubs' 4-game winning streak is history. A 9th inning hiccup for Carlos Marmol, who gave up